Have you ever felt like you're just pushing harder and harder, but it's just not working? You know, that feeling when the more force you apply, the more you feel like you're about to crack under the pressure? Well, today, we are going to explore a totally different approach to resilience. One that comes not from being hard as a rock, but from being as adaptable as water. Let's dive into this ancient wisdom and see how it can literally change everything.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at why our culture's obsession with force so often leads to burnout. Then we'll get into the paradox of water's gentle strength. After that, we'll break it down into 4 mindsets you can actually use. And to wrap it all up, I'll give you a simple daily practice to start building this kind of fluid resilience in your own life. You know, this quote from the Tao Te Ching, which was written something like 2,500 years ago, holds such a profound secret. It's basically a blueprint for a completely different kind of strength, one that doesn't just resist pressure, but actually learns to move with it. It's totally counterintuitive, I know, but as we're about to see, it is incredibly effective.
Okay, let's start with the problem. We live in a world that is constantly screaming at us to grind longer, push through pain, and never ever give up. But what happens when that approach just stops working?
And the difference here is, well, it's night and day. The path of force, it's all about being rigid and constantly resisting. And just like anything that's rigid, when you apply enough pressure, it eventually leads to burnout. It breaks. But the path of flow, that's all about adaptability and harmony. It doesn't break under pressure, it just finds a new path. It endures.
So if brute force is destined to fail, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us right to the heart of Taoist wisdom, the amazing paradox of water.
I mean, really think about it. Water is one of the softest things we know, yet over time it carves canyons through solid rock. It yields to any obstacle, just flowing around it, but it never stops moving toward its goal. So you see, water isn't just a substance, it's a model for a state of consciousness, one that is both flexible and focused, calm and completely unstoppable. There's actually a Taoist term for this state. It's called Wuwei, which means effortless action. Now, this doesn't mean being lazy or passive, not at all. Think of it like a surfer. A surfer doesn't try to control the wave, right? That would be crazy. They align with its power. They're incredibly active and precise, but all their effort is in harmony with the current, not fighting against it. That's Wuwei. It's frictionless intelligence in action.
And this is the key question, isn't it? It's one thing to admire the philosophy, but it's a whole other thing to actually live it when you're dealing with deadlines, social pressures, and just daily chaos.
So this is where we get really practical. We can actually break down the nature of water into 4 distinct mindsets. And mastery isn't about just picking one, it's about learning when to flow between them.
First up, we have ice. This represents structure, because even water needs discipline and essential boundaries sometimes. Next is liquid, which is the state of adaptability, responding to what's happening around you while staying true to your core. Then there's steam. This is all about vision, using pressure not as something that crushes you, but as fuel for transformation and growth. And finally, we have rain, which represents compassion, that act of renewal and giving back without expecting anything in return.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy and we have the framework. Now let's talk about how to bring this into our daily lives moment by moment.
This is a super simple 3-step ritual you can do anytime you feel that friction building up. First, just observe that feeling of resistance. Don't judge it, just notice it. Then, step 2, consciously soften. Take one single deep breath and just visualize that tension melting. Finally, step 3, realign. Ask yourself, what's the next smallest, most natural step? And then just take it. It's a tiny, micro practice that builds massive resilience over time.
And that's really the heart of it. True strength isn't about being unshakable or totally rigid. It's about having the flexibility to bend under life's pressures, a job loss, a tough conversation, an unexpected change, and to do it without shattering. That is the essence of water-like resilience.
So, to wrap it all up, here are the core principles of the waterway. Number 1, force is brittle, flow is strong. The goal is to align with reality, not fight it. That's the art of Wuwei. We do this by mastering the flow between the 4 forms: the structure of ice, the adaptability of liquid, the vision of steam, and the compassion of rain. And we build this skill not in some grand gesture, but in small, daily moments of practice. And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Think about the challenges in your own life, the obstacles that feel like these huge, unmovable stones. What do you think would happen if you stopped trying to smash them with force and instead decided to become the river?
Like and subscribe for timeless wisdom.